Britain's 95-year-old Queen Elizabeth II has tested positive for COVID-19. Buckingham Palace has confirmed that the monarch is experiencing mild cold-like symptoms and will maintain a light routine as she recuperates. We have details in this report.
Just 2 weeks after the United Kingdom's longest reigning monarch celebrated her platinum jubilee of 70 years on the throne, Britain's 95-year-old Elizabeth II has tested positive for COVID-19. A statement released by the palace on Sunday reads, quote, "Buckingham Palace confirmed that the Queen has today tested positive for COVID. Her Majesty is experiencing mild cold-like symptoms, but expects to continue light duties at Windsor over the coming week." End quote.
I mean, mild symptoms, you don't quite know what that means, actually. And I'm sure that at the palace, they don't want the whole country to start getting very anxious about Her Majesty. I mean, it struck me and my heart almost stopped beating for a moment because we so much care for her and we so want her to have her platinum jubilee celebrations. She deserves it so much and she's had such a terrible time lately that you just really hope that it will be mild symptoms.
In recent weeks, the Queen's son, Prince Charles, also tested positive for COVID for the second time, and his wife, the Duchess of Cornwall, was diagnosed with the virus, though it isn't clear if the UK head of state became infected due to contact with the other two royals. The monarch, who will be 96 in April, had had her first vaccine in January 2021 and is believed to have had all her follow-up jabs after that.
She will need to be very careful. She's obviously vulnerable. She's had her 3 jabs, but it's a very contagious virus this time. Not so many difficult symptoms, but very easy to catch.
According to reports, the 95-year-old Queen does not want to give up work, but Buckingham Palace says she will continue to receive medical attention and will follow all the appropriate guidelines.
She's frailer than she was a few years ago, so her appearances do really rely on her being able to get out of cars and appear at things. I mean, for instance, Royal Ascot in the summer is one of her favourites, but will she be able to manage getting in and out of the carriages and so on?
Senior politicians have been posting get-well wishes for the monarch on social media platforms, with Prime Minister Boris Johnson leading the pack. Earlier on Sunday, the Prime Minister tweeted, quote, "I'm sure I speak for everyone in wishing Her Majesty the Queen a swift recovery from COVID and a rapid return to vibrant good health." End quote. Despite her illness, the Queen was back at her desk on Sunday morning to sign off a congratulations message to the Winter Olympic curling teams. Specifically, the Queen sent her well wishes to the Great Britain women's curling team for winning the gold medal and the men's curling team for winning a silver medal.
And joining me now to discuss this, we have Tete Kofi. He's a journalist and he joins me from the UK via Zoom. Good to have you join us.
Pleasure.
So what more can you tell us in terms of how the Queen may have contracted the virus and if any other member of her family or staff is in isolation at this moment?
Well, it turns out that the Queen met her son and heir, Prince Charles, on February the 8th, and shortly after that, Prince Charles tested positive for COVID. His wife, the Duchess of Cornwall, also tested positive for COVID. And so there is naturally speculation that on account of him having met his mother, he may have been the cause of that particular infection. But the Queen is the longest serving monarch on the British throne. The lady, I can't imagine her not working. So it doesn't surprise anybody that she is on a regime of what they call light duties. But light duties will require some intellectual acumen because she's signing papers of very important state documents.
I was going to ask you about that because we know that she receives documents from UK cabinet ministers as well as Commonwealth representatives every other day, and she has to sign those papers. Is she still expected to receive those documents? Do we know what light duty means in this context?
Well, light duties means that, she's having to sign documents because as part of the British Constitution, royal assent is part of kind of legislation. And there are many, many other duties which she has. She's the head of many, many charities and other NGO organizations which can't function without her personal touch. Now, when we say light duties, obviously, Her Majesty won't be lifting and carrying anything, but these things do require intellectual acumen. And just think to yourself, if you've got a heavy head cold, how difficult it is to think things through. Of course, she's not your average 95-year-old because she's got the best secretarial help in the world. She's got the best medical help in the world. So all of that will, help her do or take care of her responsibilities. But I think that the real point is that she is modeling how Britain is going to be living when the restrictions are lifted.
And what is the attitude of Windsor now towards her Jubilee celebrations?
Well, I think everybody's looking forward to it. Her Majesty has been a really grand royal favourite. And if you look at the lives of some of her children, most recently Prince Andrew, they've been what socially have been called a bit of a car crash. So she is the one kind of redeeming element on the royal firmament, and I think she is very greatly loved by the British people. So people want her to get through to us to her 70th her Platinum Jubilee celebrations. People want to see her pull through. And of course, if you refer to what happened to President Trump when he got COVID, she is going to receive the very best care possible in the world.
Away from the Queen, and let's look at this generally in the UK. This is coming, this happened on the eve of final restrictions, on the day where final restrictions is expected to be lifted in the UK. How are people reacting, especially when you look at people within the Queen's age and this kind of risk, when you lift restrictions and the kind of risk it might pose to people of that age? So how are people reacting to this in the light of the news about the Queen?
Well, if you wanted a PR gift, you couldn't have had a better one, albeit one that's affecting somebody who is much loved by her people. Because if Britain is going to have her restrictions lifted, you're going to have to get somebody to model what our life post-COVID restrictions looks like. And nothing more appropriate than a very elderly senior member of our society who is also much loved being seen to pull through, getting through her light duties, doing her red boxes, signing all her papers, sending congratulations to medal winners at the Winter Olympics. This is what, if Boris Johnson had wanted somebody to show how Britain is supposed to be bouncing back post-restriction, this is what it's going to be. So to that extent, it's been something of a PR win for those who are crafting government policy at the present time.
The Queen is known to always be in high spirits. We wish her well as she continues to recover. We understand that it is mild symptoms, so we wish her well. Thank you so much for talking to us, Tete Kofi, journalist from the UK.
A pleasure.